Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Thelen, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today with the Air Force Wounded Warrior program here as an ambassador. I'm really grateful to use this platform to tell my story and hopefully inspire and motivate everyone here today, maybe going through their own personal trials, or maybe ones that have yet to come, or maybe you have an airman that is going through this as well that you might be able to help. I hope you gain absolute resilience through this story, because I know I had life on lockdown and it all just got flipped upside down on its head, and I had to find that. Two key things I would like to speak about today is knowing when to get help, accepting that help even if you don't know what to ask for, and also combating the age-old stigma of you don't go to the doctor unless you are dead, hurt, have something cut off. And in our military culture these days, we tend to think mission first, but if we don't have people, then we don't have an effective mission. So today, I'm here to tell you about my story. It started on December 16th. God knew exactly where I needed to be, and that was at SrA Hospital in San Antonio, Texas. I had just graduated from intelligence training school with my husband, my newlywed husband, and we had been there all night, and the final ophthalmologist came in and he said, "Does cancer run in your family?" What a punch in the gut. No, cancer doesn't run in my family. We did the final test, and he explained that there was a 90% chance that I had what was called choroidal melanoma. So during this time, I had just transitioned from being a technical student, fixing to PCS, but not quite, so I was in this gap. I didn't have a case manager. I had the complete support, though, of my command team and sergeants, and they realized that I wanted to stay in the military. I mean, I'd just done all this wonderful stuff, and I was like, if I'm going to be alive, I still want to be in the military. I still want to do my job. So my chief said, "All right, Jessica, we'll take care of you and your husband, and we'll get you through this." So I got sent to MD Anderson. They told me that there was two different types of treatments. One would be to remove my eye, and another one that would be a plaque therapy. And he said, he made it sound like the better option would be to remove my eye. So my husband and I went to bat. We actually found another technical sergeant actually in San Antonio, and he was able to stay in service without an eye. And so we thought, if he could do it, I could do it. And we were reaching out, making these connections. Meanwhile, I just picked up a case manager, and we were getting through it. We were relying on each other. Every morning he was like, "Jessica, you need to go run, you need to go do this." And so I was training through this whole thing. And then came closer to the time for my surgery, and a master sergeant pulled him aside and said, "Hey, we got your third referral to Philadelphia to Wills Eye Institute." The week before my surgery to take my eye out, we got into Philadelphia. And after 2 days of examinations, the doctor said, "Jessica, if you were my sister, I would do this surgery. It will save your eye, and I think you're going to be just fine." They got in there, they did the surgery, they did a biopsy. Turns out it wasn't genetic, it was very low grade, so I had a really good chance for survival and low metastasis. So we get past that. 4 months later, I do my PT test. I make a 92. We're rocking and rolling again. Every day, though, I'm still battling with anxiety and depression. Always having that fear in the back of your mind, what if it comes back? And it was really scary, and it was taking a toll on both me and my husband. But we pushed through it. And then I got orders to Buckley Air Force Base, which is absolutely amazing. Beautiful place in the world to go. And we got there, and we were ready to start our lives new and fresh, and we were excited. And we get there, and it's a little bit up and down, how PCS goes. And you kind of stop working out for a minute, and I was in honor guard, and I had a rough supervisor for a minute, and we were just really stressed out. My husband, he has a ADHD, ADD, and he had stopped school to take care of me for about a year and a half now, and he didn't know where to pick back up. Do I go back to school? Do I try to find a job? We had one vehicle, and so we're making all this work, and it was really stressful. And then he found his place. I got a change of supervisor, and we had leveled out. I started working out again. I started coming back up on top. We were set. We started going on adventures. We hiked Quandary 14er. Life was good. I started working out and bench pressing and really weightlifting, and I was sore one night. It was a Sunday night, and I put my arm up to stretch, and I started massaging my pecs because they were sore. Well, I reached up to do the other one, and as I'm massaging, I find a lump out of nowhere. I was scared. I wasn't batting a good average before with this rare eye cancer. So I'm freaking out. My husband calms me down. I go the next day to my nurse practitioner, and she checks me out and she says, "Jessica, I think it's just a cyst. Stop drinking caffeine for 30 days and you should be fine." I see my eye oncologist who checks on my liver for my eye, and he said, "I think it's the same thing. I think it's a cyst, but let's order an ultrasound just to be sure." I said, "Okay, doc, thanks." I go see my PCM, and he says the same thing. So 3 doctors, they just think it's a cyst. I'm calmed down. So I go in to get the ultrasound, and they're doing the ultrasound, and she's not talking to me, and I kind of have that feeling. And then she says, "We need to do a mammogram." When you're 29 years old, TRICARE doesn't let you just get a mammogram. You have to have a special order. So we waited 3 days for that to go through. And then I get the mammogram on Monday. And then from the mammogram, we need to do a biopsy. So that afternoon, I went in and got a biopsy. The doctor doing the biopsy has done so many of these, and as she's doing it, she says, "Jessica, other than it being there, I really don't think it's anything. It feels like a cyst." So that calms my nerves again, and I'm like, all right, it's gonna be nothing. I already had this rare cancer. I beat it. We're great. About 4 days later, I get a phone call, and they say, "Jessica, we are so sorry, but you have something called triple negative breast cancer. It's not caused by hormones. It might be caused by a gene, but other than that, we have to do more tests." I remember sitting there, and I was just so angry at the world, at life, and I was angry for about an hour, and then I went completely numb for 2 weeks. I got the testing done. It wasn't caused by genes. I don't have any family history. They don't know why. It's another rare type of cancer. So I go back to my PCM, and he's usually bouncy. And he came, and he sits down, and he looks at me, and he says, "Jessica, I don't know exactly how or what to do for you, but I think you should go see mental health," because I told him, I don't know, I'm numb. And I said, "Well, you are a major and you're my doctor, so I'll go if you would like me to. I don't know what it's gonna do, but I'll go." And I can remember that stigma, as I mentioned before, and just feeling weak and unsure about, people who get mental health, they're weak, or they have this stigma like, if you're on an antidepressant, you're weak, you're not strong enough to make it through your situation. And so I remember sitting in mental health, and I was just, just scared, and like, man, I really can't believe I'm doing this. And I go in, and so starts a really good relationship with a therapist, and I go every week, and we go up and down through all my problems from current to past. And a big problem that I had was I kept comparing this cancer to my last cancer, and it was really difficult for me to get over, because here I am with this eye cancer making a 92 on my PT test, and this cancer, I can barely get off the floor going through chemotherapy. I'm losing my hair, which is your identity. People say, hair is just a thing, it'll grow back, but if that was the case, more people would shave their heads. And so she helped me work through all of that, where if I had been alone, I don't know that I would have been able to do that as well. And so I keep going and I'm doing okay, and I'm still in a pit of despair, but I'm working through it. But it kind of all came to a head when the day before my chemo treatment is when I usually started to feel better. And I'm still getting treatment for my eye, and I have to get these injections for at least 2 years so that way my eye keeps healing from all the fluid. And I remember sitting in the chair at my eye appointment, and I'm fixing to get an eye injection, and I'm so bald that my sunglasses fell off and tumbled onto the floor when I leaned my head back. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh. And I get the eye injection, but I'm so sick that I can't even sit up straight. My knees are like pulled up to my chest, and it was just so hard. And then the next day, it bled into the next day where my husband and I pull up, and I'm like, I do not want to go and get treated again and feel awful again, because this was a weekly ordeal. And I remember sitting in the parking lot like it was yesterday, and there was a pretty young, fit, athletic woman who got out of her car, and she had long brown hair. And I was already depressed. I was already just in that pit. And I remember thinking, why isn't he with somebody like her? Why is he with me? Somebody who's had cancer twice, 2 years in a row, back to back. And I was just sobbing as I got into the elevator, sobbing through my treatment. And I remember the therapist there coming up to me, and she said, Jessica, this is normal. This is a normal part of the phase, but we prescribe things like Celexa and Xanax to just get you up so that way you can make it through the treatment. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're going to be on it forever, but it's at least going to help you be strong enough to make it through it right now. And I took her advice, and 3 days later I picked up my script and I started taking it. And within the first week, I wasn't happy, but I at least leveled out. I was at least able to have a nice conversation with my husband again. I was at least able to function a little bit better. And moving forward, Lisa Taylor, my recovery care coordinator with the Air Force Wounded Warrior, she helped me make that decision, because a prior conversation was, Jessica, you need to take care of yourself. If you do or don't end up getting out, that's okay. If you do get med boarded, just know that I am right behind you. Take the meds, take what you need, focus on you, get healed, get better, and then I will help you in whatever manner you might need. And so that really helped alleviate some of the anxiety that I had to take the Celexa, to take the Xanax that I needed to just to function again, because I have a TS, SrA, and a poly, and I didn't want to lose my brand new job that I was fixing to do. And so I did it, I progressed, we got through the chemo, we got through the surgery, the radiation, and just overcoming all of this stigma, overcoming asking for help has been a huge part of the journey. And if there's anything that you can get out of this story today, I really hope that this inspires and motivates you to seek out that help that you might need, or use the Air Force Wounded Warrior, or maybe one of your airmen, to use this program to help them get through. Because today I am a productive member of my shop at Buckley Air Force Base. I am able to go and work out after I get off because I have the energy, and I'm just a really productive team member, and it's made a huge difference taking care of myself and knowing that that's okay, and I am still able to do the mission today. So I went from being just surviving through the first one, to a thriving survivor on the second one. And I hope you get whatever you need to out of that today. So thank you for your time.